Do you like the Dreamcast? I love the Dreamcast and I am on a mission to complete every single game on the system. There are almost 300 English language releases and I want you to join me on my adventure to completing them all. The order is chosen completely at random. Last episode we looked at Maximum Pool. Whoo, what a ride. Game 12, we have another fighting game, the fourth one so far, and don't worry, there's still quite a few to go, but this episode is Project Justice, or if you live in Europe, Project Justice Rival Schools 2. Hell yeah, Rival Schools was pretty awesome. A 3D fighter for the PlayStation. Who knew there was a sequel? I guess they didn't want North Americans to know. Yeah, so why the name change? Well, my theory is, one, they didn't want to insinuate school violence, you know, a touchy subject in America, understandable, or purely for the fact that calling it Rival Schools 2 would be a lie, because it's not Rival Schools 2, it's actually Rival Schools 3. Rival Schools 2 was a PS1 game that never released outside of Japan, probably because it was more like an updated version of the original game. You know how Capcom had like 12 versions of Street Fighter 2? Kind of like that. They added a couple of new characters, so probably shouldn't have been called Rival Schools 2, but it was, so yeah, there it is. I guess America couldn't face lying to its customers with Project Justice. If they called it Rival Schools 2, they would be lying. If they called it Rival Schools 3, people would be confused, so smeg it, Project Justice, that's it, Gola, enough. Developed and published by Capcom in 2001 on the Dreamcast, I was excited about this because I enjoyed the original. To complete the game, we're going to go through the story mode, of which there is a dedicated mode, so that's nice. No complaining, alright? Thank you to my Patreon supporters for helping me. I massively appreciate it, and so does my wife because she started to help me edit these videos. In fact, she's edited the audio on almost all of them, so you can say thanks to her with the Patreon too. You also get very nice bonus perks, which you can check with the link down below. From the select screen, you don't technically choose your fighter, but you choose the school, each of which has 3 or so fighters affiliated with them, and you go through their shared experience. There are 6 schools to choose from, and we should go in order from top to bottom. That's how I roll. Plus, I'm assuming Taio School with Batsu is the main character for the series of sorts. If you missed Rival Schools 1, or like me completely erased the plot from your memory, you can get a quick recap of this dude called Taio, who tried to take over Japan by first controlling the schools. That's a fine method. He was obviously thwarted, and now we are a year down the line. Batsu has now settled into his new school and is in the second year with his new friends. Now there is an inter-school competition, but the rival school is causing trouble. During the chaos, Batsu, Kyosuke, and Hinata are confronted by a mysterious man who shows them someone they seem to know as Daigo. But he is cheesed and it's time to fight. So this game has essence of like a Marvel vs Capcom, at least from what I remember. You have 3 fighters, and for the fight you can choose who goes into the frying pan first. Did I say frying pan? I meant fray, but for some reason my brain changed that to frying pan, whatever. You have 3 fighters, and for the fight you can choose who goes into the fray first, and which supporting acts the other 2 will play. They can't tag in or out, but if your meter is high enough, you can expend some of it for them to jump in and do a special move. Naturally, at the beginning, I'm still getting to grips with the whole system, but I pulled it off with Hinata in the second bout, this time against Kuro. When you finish off the first opponent, you can then choose to keep the same fighter or switch them out, and then the opponent will be a new foe. So you're generally only going 1 round with 1 person. This adds quite a lot to the story, and I like the idea more than going 2 rounds with just 1. I like variety, what can I say? The ending of this fight leads you to wanting to investigate what's going on, and you bump into Daigo's sister, you know, the big dude that you just beat up. But before you can talk like adults, you get literally the most annoying trope in gaming history. The shut up let's fight trope. I hate that. Just seems like a filler excuse that could be avoided with just better writing. But you know, it's a fighting game I suppose. So now you're having a scrap with 3 lovely ladies. First fighting Akira, who is probably one of the most grounded fighters in the game, somewhat within reality and perhaps like a decent mascot for the game, your Chun-Li type. One thing I should mention about these tag moves, sometimes the opponent will initiate a cancel move, which involves one of their friends trying to interrupt your friend from joining them, but then your third friend jumps in to try and stop that happening. Does that make sense? No, but just roll with it. If you play it, you'll get it. And then these two, whoever gets the first hit in, just 1 touch, their team will succeed, i.e. your attack will succeed, or they will cancel it out. It's long-winded, but it is super fast in play and mildly annoying when you think you pulled off a finisher one for it all to fail because you're too busy taking a swig of coffee. Apparently, there is a doppelganger Batsu hanging around who attacked the girls before, hence why they were so quick to jump the gun and try and fight you. So now you want to find out who's been impersonating you. But there is a traitor in the ranks because Akira's friend, who you just fought, leads you away to this little devil child, Momo, who's working for the evil dude, and it's a trap. This is the first kind of big roadblock here, okay? Mostly down to my inexperience, but also down to Momo, who it doesn't matter how good I got at this game, she was ready to sit my ass down every single time. I'm not really getting her theme, like tennis, alright? She'd be better as like a murderous doll or something. But yeah, she's tiny, and she's the odd job of this game, and she will eat your face off. She's fast and unforgiving, and it took about 20 minutes just to win against her and the traitor girl, landing a final blow with my full party technique. Oh, that felt so good. You end up in a classroom where you're confronted by Hyo, who, if we go back to the intro, was supposed to be the bad guy at the first game, and apparently your mate Kyosuke is his brother, even if they don't share the same name, I don't know. And now you have a scrap with him, and boy, if you just picked up this game and you're new to it, he can be quite tough because he is relentless. Took me like 15 minutes to get him down to rounds, and yeah, you have to fight 2 rounds with him because he's a lone ranger. He don't have no friends. Maybe we share something in common. Afterwards, he hints that your friend Hinata is in trouble. Like, seriously, where did she go? Did they not notice she wasn't around anymore? I know I barely used her, but come on, she's supposed to be your friend. You confront fake Batsu, and he reveals himself to be Kuro, who you met in the first fight. Man, Scooby-Doo would eat this plot for breakfast. It turns out he, the traitor girl, and Momo have been plotting all along. It turns out this fight, you're supposed to lose it. Yeah, one of those tropes. It's to make you feel like you're on your last legs before some hero stands on the horizon. The greatest assistant Gandalf, it's Roy, whoever he is, and this lady. It's time for the proper fight. And yeah, this Roy fella, he is badass. It's an easy win. Apparently, they are from America, if you couldn't guess already, and they're awesome. It turns out the plan was all conducted by Hyo, treating everyone like pawns in his game to dominate Japan. Somehow, I don't know. He then attacks Kuro and runs off and becomes Super Saiyan, thanks to his father's evil spirit. I don't know, guys. Let's just beat the crap out of him, okay? Or, more accurately, let him beat the crap out of us. He's obviously really tough when fighting him for the first time. I tried with Roy because he's badass, but he demolished me. So I thought I'd throw in the wild card, Tiffany. I definitely have breakfast with her, but yeah, she gets even more mullered. So I kept trying with Roy, and yeah, you won't believe this, guys, but here's the thing. You have to avoid his attacks. Shocking, I know. Jump over his special attacks. Sidestep them if you have to, and you know, it's not so bad. And the ending has Hyo dying in his brother's arms, the picture of which ends up in the local paper. Who took that photo? Hang on, don't move, keep it like that. 3, 2, 1, snap. Alright, carry on grieving. Apparently, Kyosuke has gone missing, probably trying to find himself. Oh wait, it was Ran who took the photo, who we'll see later. What a classy lady she is. Batsu though, he's pretty chill over the whole thing, essentially saying a man's gotta do what a man's gotta do, and that's the end of it. As the credits roll, you get this sort of Tai Chi scene with this girl in her underwear and jacket, as one does. That's some magnificent staying power on that jacket. She's not wearing her sleeves. Is it like glued onto her or something? Right, let's get on with the next school. Next on the block is Gorin High School. Although, straight away, the story contradicts that and says it's a university. Make your mind up. We have Shoma, Natsu, and Roberto. They run to the aid of someone screaming. They see the devil incarnate who says that she's been chased by Batsu. Now, as we've already seen in the other story, this isn't the real Batsu, it's Kuro in disguise, so it's all a bit of a trap. We start with Shoma, who's a baseball player. Pretty cool design. Classic sports anime. Exaggerated bat's eyes, love it. He's cool to use as well, although perhaps I didn't find a move with his bat that truly satisfied me, but it's a minor point. With Vatsu down, yeah, he's called Vatsu, not Batsu, Momo is still there to cause chaos by making a rift between the team, clinging onto Shoma and making Natsu jealous. Roberto, the real pro though, just standing there not doing anything. Those are the foreigners that I like. I think it's a foreigner. Basically me when my wife's talking to someone. I decided to go on Natsu's side because I think we can all agree Shoma has let us down. I assume like she's a volleyball player and she's pretty good. Always nice getting a spike on your foe. For the second round, I decided to try Roberto, but he's against Momo, so I was kind of dreading it, and he's not that great to be honest. At least I couldn't really get used to his moves, but I do come out on top of Momo, but not enough to smooth things over as the two groups part ways. Randomly, you get Nagare to join you in Shoma's stead, and some big old bullies rock up to fight you. I had to start with Nagare first because just look at him, that's hilarious, he's got paddles for hands. First off, we're fighting Daigo and Edge. We haven't met this spiky head git before, but he's definitely trying a bit too hard to be an Edge Lord. I beat both of them on the first try. After going and beating the Devil Child and Traitor Girl once more and chase them back to Kuro, where Shoma realizes he was a bit of an idiot, it's time to kick some ass. Sadly, I lost 2 in a row, but the second time I won 2 in a row. Finishing with some special moves never gets old. After defeating them, Kuro runs off and we chase him to Hyo, who tries to murder him. Yes, it's the same final boss, and yes, same final boss for everyone. And for some reason, Momo joins you on your side. I mean, it's hardly a redemption arc, and after you take more batterings than a local fish and chip shop, the ending has Natsu and Shoma reconciling, but not before Momo once again tries to interfere. I guess he's just a stud. He's not picky, lanky girls, growth-stunted girls, he'll take anyone. Next up is Pacific High School, the ones that had the competition, against like the first group. We see the scrap and it's between Pacific High and one of the teachers, Hayato. We've got Bowman, who's a second-year student going on 45, plus a girl we've seen doing like the Tai Chi or whatever, and she's just called chairperson. Like she's too important or too emo. Yeah, too emo for a proper name. Actually, she's not very interesting to play as, but I think she's got a great supporting character, like special move. She wheels up a whiteboard and gives like a mini lecture. It's hilarious. But anyways, after that quick skirmish, the Pacific High School vow to clear their name because everyone's blaming them for the scrap. They are joined by a photojournalist, as far as the school paper can be, and she's pretty uninteresting too. Not bad, but compared to other schools in this game, these guys are lacking a bit. They fight Ghetto High School because they are the most likely trouble causers. They are then attacked by fake Batsu's team, but they're saved by Roy and Tiffany, who claim that he's a fake. And this is great news because I've not been enamored by this current selection, so adding my main man Roy, perhaps the greatest Roy in gaming, okay, I mean I got annihilated the first time of trying this, but yeah, second time, that was fine. Just needed to get in the Roy swinging mood again. Next up is Shoma, who's been fooled by Momo, but he soon realizes the error of his ways, about how many people maybe he's hurt by following her, which leads them to the quarry, the face-off against Kuro, who then retreats to Hyo, who he then commands to help him, but it turns out he wasn't being manipulated at all, just playing along, and almost murders Kuro, as we've seen many times before. After his defeat, the foreigners say goodbye, and they're going to be bros for life, something like that. Ghetto High School has the spiky head Edge, the big old bug again, and the moody Daigo, who, after missing in action from the first game, returns to his mates and commands them to take over the other schools via fighting, as you do. First by scrapping with a couple of teachers we haven't seen before. Things get weird when they spot Daigo taking orders from a little girl, so they get a bit suspicious about their boss. After a couple of fights, Daigo has gone nuts, and these punks and his sister from the girls' school confront them to calm him down. Even Daigo is on Kuru's side in the penultimate fight, and that's when something weird happens. After this fight, it seems Daigo is dead. At least that's what it's hinted at, and the story ends there. There's no final fight with Hyo in this one, there's no end credit sequence either, and this kind of perplexed me. I looked online and I couldn't see any information about it. I'm pretty sure I somehow got a bad ending. How? Why? I don't have a clue, but it's time to move on. It's an ending. I got an ending at least. Next up is Justice High School, the one with the teachers. I guess the students are too pansy there. The head teacher was bludgeoned over the head, and instead of leaving it to the police, Hideo and Kyoko are investigating the circumstances. They are ambushed by the so-called thugs of Ghetto High School, and I choose Kyoko as the first fighter, and I'm pretty much in love with this lady. Tight sweater, long legs, and damn, what a clipboard. I'm getting all hot and steamy just thinking about it. Hayato also joins them in confronting Hayo, who was supposed to be like causing trouble again. Remember, he did try to overtake Japan last year. He has a bit of a reputation. After fisting first, asking questions later, they come to the conclusion that both Batsu and Daigo are not who they seem. But then disaster. My lady Kyoko leaves the squad, with only Hideo, who I haven't used yet, and Hayato, who I'm not massively keen on. I mean, he beats people with a stick, which is pretty cool, I guess, but I'm not a fan of the obvious PE teacher from the 70s vibe. He probably loves those school showers a bit too much. After that, we're told my lady Kyoko has been kidnapped and crucified in the quarry. I mean, where else are you supposed to do it? There is then this weird fight where you don't actually have to win. You just need to survive like 15 seconds or something, while Kyoko is helped by Hideo. With Kyoko back, it's time to kick ass. And kick ass we did. Their ending has Hideo and Kyoko getting married, or at least saying they're going to get married, which this is like the worst game ever. How could you choose him, Kyoko? Anyways, I know I'm rushing through these final ones, but genuinely, this was my favorite route because of Kyoko. Not just because I'm joking, right? But she is really genuinely fun to play as. The bottom school is Seijun High School, which I believe is an all-girls school. It has Akira, who is Daigo's sister. It has Traitor Girl and Zaki, a badass ninja lady. She's basically Shake from Ocarina of Time if she was designed by Nomura. She will only help Akira in finding her bro if she gives a test of her skill first. One of those nonsense tropes used to fill time. I get it, but I've grown to hate it. Akira, as much as I like her design, not great to play with. Neither are any of these girls, to be honest. And the story, by this point, you've got almost all of the picture and you're seeing stuff that you've already seen from other perspectives. So there's nothing really new here. The biggest one is fighting the crazed Daigo once again, which leads to the penultimate fight, but this time he comes to his senses. Like beating him with Akira made his rage stop. Maybe it was a character choice, I don't know, but it feels like I've avoided the bad ending at least. And in fact, Daigo joins your fight against Kuro, with Eureka revealing that she's a traitor. But after defeating the Super Saiyan Hyo, Akira and Zaki forgive her. Like, you can't begrudge people's life choices. Well, that's a bit too broad. You can judge some people, okay? And that's all of them done, all of the schools. But wait, there's more, because completing it with all the schools unlocks her final school, the Dark Side route. Now, as a principle for fighting games, I refuse to go through unlockable characters, but this game, so goddamn fun, and I'm genuinely fascinated to know what went down from the bad guy's perspective. So yeah, an exception is being made for this one. We are doing the Dark Side community, so goddamn emo. It starts off big. Kuro, who wants to rule Japan, confronts Hyo after he's bludgeoned the principal of one of the schools, a 1v1 to kick it all off. After the fight, Kuro whips out his flute and plays it to control Hyo, and that's the main theme of this route. He goes from school to school fighting and playing his damn flute to control the people there. Your sister can't stand by you and grasses you up to her friend, so I'm guessing this isn't canon because this is the opposite of what we saw before. Finally, it comes down to Hyo once more. Kuro is confused why he isn't under his spell. He was just playing along all this time, what a prankster. It's just a 1v1, which against the final boss isn't ideal since there's zero support attacks, which I relied on so heavily up to this point. But it turns out it's not the final boss though, since after winning just one round, he evolves into Super Saiyan Hyo, and now is the proper fight. It's actually super easy because I swear having Eureka in your party is almost like cheat mode. Like, she boosts your specials up so much you can keep spamming them over and over again. And with that, Kuro now controls over 100 students and somehow controls Japan or something. I guess if they are like the elite of the elite students in Japan, they'll probably get into like big institutions, you know, the government, banking, tech, so maybe he's playing the waiting game. Give it 10 more years and Japan will be his properly. And that's it, done. Well, I think Project Justice is an amazing fighting game. Not only is it accessible, but it's damn fun and it's got an amazing variety. Every fighter is unique, memorable in some way, and fun to play as. The story campaign for each school, great idea, even if the story is kind of shallow, but it's a fighting game. For a fighting game, it's Oscar worthy. Easy to pick up and play, have a lot of laughs, and damn fun learning the mechanics. It might be one of my favorite fighting games ever. A 9 out of 10. In terms of presentation, again, they absolutely nailed it. It looks brilliant in almost every aspect. All the characters stand out, they're well designed, the arenas are different, the animation is good and hilarious at times, and the music bloody outstanding. My only issue is with the coloring of some of the characters. I know it's a fighting staple to have like palette swaps, but the colors are just a bit too bold and a bit too cheap. Like, not enough detail or shading, but I guess it's a minor point. I'll give it a 9 out of 10 as well for that. In terms of difficulty, for a fighting game, it's very nicely balanced for the casual player, such as myself. It does have a challenge and spikes in difficulty here and there, but the main bad guys, and that devil incarnate Momo, but nothing that a bit of grinding and making your own luck and learning the mechanics won't solve, okay? I think it's the perfect like 6 out of 10 for difficulty. Completion time, 5.5 hours, which is way longer than I thought and probably surprising to you. But yeah, you know, a couple of those storylines took me like an hour or more. The cutscene's quite long, but it also depended on how lucky or unlucky I was. So yeah, I did get better as time went on. I started bad, but once I learned the flow of the game, you know, the process did step up a bit. Special thanks to my Patreon supporters once more. They get everything ad-free, loads of bonus videos, and the best thing for fans of the series, they get to watch these videos early. You can watch the next one right there. It's over there right now, and it is Bomberman Online. And I tell you, oh boy, what an experience that was. You can watch it right now with the link below. Special thanks to my super producers, Alexander Cato, Brent McLean, FF14 Best RPG, Vey, Sven Nowlertz, Wixit, Josh Foot, and Dustin Martin.